Today is Monday. Yes, it's Monday. The weekend is over with. I am very much rested compared to before. I slowed down a little bit the middle of the day, but now things are picking back up some. And for those who may be listening for the first time, you're probably like, wait a second, who are you? I am your host, KC Phoenix, and yes, today is Monday, September the 28th. And this is my daily thought. As for the show, Keeping It Real with KC, KIRWKC.com is the main podcasting platform that will let you listen to any and all of the Keeping It Real with KC episodes. My daily thought is a supplement to Keeping It Real with KC. Also, you can follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, KIRWKC. If you're watching this on YouTube or Daily Motion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, followed by the notification bell. That will let you know when I upload new videos. And I think that is it. So I'm sort of working into this episode like I do all of my episodes. Sunday, I binge watched anime. I was in the bed. I worked a little bit in the morning because I know I had said Saturday, like I'm going to just take Sunday off. But I always say I feel weird when I'm not doing any type of work where if I'm watching TV, I'm usually eating, doing it. But if I'm not eating, or preparing for bed or waking up, then I just feel weird if I'm not working or doing something productive. So yesterday, I started working on some little side things, administrative stuff for the channel, and I put some new things in motion. Now, I was doing some research, and after that little bit of research, I'm doing a test run with something, and we will see how that test run goes in a few days. And I'm looking forward to that. Outside of that, I had, a very pleasant Sunday, for the most part. A very pleasant Sunday. And I'm glad that I have lived to see Monday. And if you're listening, I'm glad that you live to listen and see Monday as well. All right. One thing that came across my mind this weekend, for those who may not know, those who aren't into like astrology and things like that, Mercury is currently in retrograde, which I say Mercury and Murphy's because it's sort of like Murphy's Law, what can go wrong will go wrong, because Mercury is about communication. And when Mercury goes retrograde, communication is usually delayed or misunderstood. And things are overlooked. When Mercury is in retrograde, you have to pay attention to the details, like pay very close attention to the details, because something will be overlooked and then you're out of luck. They usually say, don't sign contracts, don't try not to go on trips or do anything related to court or whatever when Mercury is in retrograde. That's what they say. Obviously, you can't stop living your life when Mercury goes in retrograde. But I bring that up because another thing that is brought up with Mercury going in retrograde, even though communication is usually delayed or misunderstood, it's a good time for internal reflection, to reflect within oneself. Now, I bring that up because one thing that, for me, and this is probably because my rising sign is Aries, even though I'm a Cancer. One thing for me, I'm usually like, I want it and I want it now. I want it done and I want it done now. Sometimes I'll take my time, depending on, everything's on a case by case basis. But usually, if I know what I want, I I'm more about, okay, let's get the goal accomplished. Let's get it done. That's one reason why I don't window shop. If I or when I would go to the mall, because I haven't been to the mall in forever. But when I used to go to the mall, I didn't go to the mall to look around. I don't believe in that. If I go to the mall, I'm going with a purpose. Just like with grocery shopping or anything where I'm making a trip to a store to make a purchase, I already have in my head what I want to buy. And I prefer to go places where I know my way around the store pretty well. That way I know what aisle I'm going to, how I'm going to get it, how I'm going to get out, what card I'm paying with. I have everything down to a T in my head to get in, get out as quickly as possible, because I don't really like being out that much anyway. As some of you may already know who already follow the show, you know about my agoraphobia and everything else. All right. So when I'm doing things, I'm moving fast. Just like when I tap in my code for my phone, I'll miss it. Sometimes I'll type in the wrong code because my thumb is moving so fast. And then instead of hitting one number, I hit a different number, and it just throws the whole thing off. And I was thinking, with the whole Mercury in retrograde and doing internal reflection, that things during this period, things slow down. It's okay to slow down. Instead of me rushing to pick up my phone to do something very basic, whether I'm checking social media or whether I'm checking several email accounts or whatever, it won't throw anything off by a major amount if I take my time and slow down typing in the code versus typing in the code really fast and doing it under, let's say, 5 seconds. I'm just pulling numbers here. Under 5 seconds. If I do it within 10 seconds, it won't be the end of the world. And that's something that I had to realize. And this dog is barking, and this is another example of why I don't like animals. But I digress. So, for slowing down, that's what I'm telling you. Especially now. Mercury doesn't come completely out of retrograde until the middle of November. I think it's November 13th or 14th, give or take. You can look it up. It starts to come out at the first week of November, around about the 3rd, around election time. And then it's supposed to come fully out around the 13th or the 14th. But you can look up the exact details of that. But slowing down, not just right now, but slowing down in general, isn't a bad thing. If you're already ahead of schedule, it doesn't hurt to stop and smell the roses just a little bit. Now, with everything, as I always do, all of my shows, I always add a caveat. There has to be balance. You can't do everything slow. You have to have a sense of urgency with some things. So this isn't a license for you to say, oh, well, KC said I just need to slow down, and then you slow down on everything. No. Or you slow down where instead of taking an extra 5 seconds, you decide to take an extra 5 minutes on something. I'm not saying that. Things have to be done in moderation, obviously. It has to be balanced. What I am saying is that not every single thing has to be rushed. And that's another thing that I've noticed with myself, because I've been tongue tied quite a few times, even when recording this, which is another thing. All of my videos are unedited. For one reason, editing takes forever, even though I'm about to start a little bit of editing. But as for the show itself, that will more than likely, that won't ever be edited, because I like for things to be raw. I like for things to be, you're getting what you're getting when it happens. And that's what I enjoy. So I will say that I plan to slow down while I'm reflecting internally and attempt to take my time with words in going in the future. Because when I think about certain things, because my brain, it just moves so fast. And because it moves fast, how can I put this? It knows what it wants to say, but it says something else. And I know what I meant, but it just doesn't come out. I'll give you an example. I was looking on the table, and I had some garlic on the table. The bulb, they're in the bulbs, the cloves of garlic in the bulbs. And I was like, oh, I have to, and I said it real quick, oh, I have to move the onion. And the reason I said that is because it looked like an onion. In my brain, it knew it was garlic, but another part of my brain was like, hey, it looks like an onion. And I said that so fast out loud instead of taking my time and slowing down and saying, oh yeah, I have to move the garlic. It's little things like that. So that's why I'm doing this episode. It's okay to slow down. Caveat, in moderation, balance. But for some of the simple things, it doesn't have to be rushed. You can take your time. Even though I've made it clear you can never get back time, you shouldn't make it a habit to do everything in such a fast manner where you're flying by the seat of your pants. You can't stay in fifth gear forever. You're going to have to switch back to second or third, and sometimes the first, or neutral, depending on how you drive a stick. I think I'm one of the few people who puts a stick in neutral instead of putting it in first when getting ready to switch into all other stuff, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, you can't stay in fifth gear all the time. You just can't. And sometimes there's not a need to be in fifth gear. Sometimes you may only need to be in second or third gear. And that's okay. Because if you're flying by the seat of your pants constantly, you never get to see any of the scenery around you. If you're doing 75 miles an hour constantly, you won't get to see any of the scenery around you. Because everything's just going to be zoom, zoom, zoom. You know this. So it's okay to slow down. And that's pretty much what I have for my daily thought today. It's short today. I had another daily thought, and I'm so mad at myself because I didn't write it down. And this is what happens. Mercury in retrograde. And I should have done that. I didn't write it down. Hopefully it will come back to me. If it doesn't, It's not the end of the world. But I had another one that I really was looking forward to discussing, but I had already set everything up to do this particular daily thought. So, the one I really wanted to do for tomorrow, yeah, and now is somewhere in the wind. Hopefully it'll come back to me. But that's all I have. Thank you to everyone who's been listening and supporting by sharing the links, subscribing, commenting, whatever you've been doing to support Keeping It Real with KC. I really appreciate it. And I'm telling you right now, more stuff is coming. Because like I said, I did some administrative stuff this weekend, and I'm running a test, and I will know the results of that test for the show in a few days. So keep your fingers crossed. And as long as it works out, which I'm going to have to cross my T's and dot my I's, because as I said, Mercury's in retrograde. But also, reviewing things is good while Mercury is in retrograde too. Not necessarily just because things can go wrong, but also just taking your time and going through things too. So I'll enjoy going through the results of the test bit by bit. I look forward to that. Anyways, I appreciate you all. I love you all. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. Until next time, be blessed.